The combination of Nazis and zombie sharks was never going to be a recipe for an Oscar winner. But even so, all the reasons I hate this film, you're going to want to see it. Shark's basic premise is that a group of ecologists find a hidden Nazi laboratory in the middle of the Antarctic because, of course, where else could it be? And all hell breaks loose accordingly. So, in my defence, even though it sounds terrible, the trailer with its well-rendered CGI sharks, its gorgeous cinematography and its strong cast had me thinking that maybe this is a film with a terrible premise that's executed really well, except it wasn't. It was awful and I wanted to walk out of the cinema, except I couldn't because I was at home and I'm still angry about that. So, but this is about balance. I like doing balanced reviews. So what went well? Well, I've already mentioned the cinematography. Really, really well done. Very, very clear. And the set design and location, really very good. Now, bearing in mind, this is an independently made film, and I'm going to assume that the budget's relatively small. They did really well on that. You know, certainly the look and feel of the film, from on those perspectives, had the look of a big budget Hollywood, sci-fi. It looked good. It was just the elements that let it down really badly. So another thing that was the gore. Certainly this is a film that is a throwback to the exploitation type films of the 80s. And actually there's a little 2-minute short at the end, which actually is better than the main film, that shows that, this was all a throwback to those 80s films that we grew up with. But it was done really poorly. So, in the first few minutes, we're on a plane. And there's the classic 80s characters. So you've got the priest and the nun. I'm sure there's a sick person on there or a celebrity or something. And there's the misogynist at the back that comes out with so many things that are wrong that when he meets his fate at the hands of a female zombie, you really quite enjoy the kill. And the gore is done really well. Practical effects and lots of blood and everything, which if you like these types of films is definitely, there's plenty of gore. But there's just so much wrong with it. So let's talk about that. Well, first off is the amount of nudity. And I am not against nudity at all. I'm just against it being used as a crutch for an absent, in this case, character arc and storyline. And it was just icky because there was far too much of it. So, we had the classic older guy with that was fully dressed with the younger girl banging in various locations. And it was repeated a lot. And of course, the girl was fully naked. It was fine. Once, fine. But when it kept continuing, not nice. Not nice at all. Especially when one of the girls gets dragged to be fed to the sharks. And the CGI on her privates is so awful. They make her look like a Barbie doll. Not good. That's not how we look down there, guys. Not at all. Maybe it was trying to bring it into a different age category, but just leave her underwear on. And the other is there was a transformation of one of the sisters, and after she's bitten by a zombie or something. And the only bit of transformation you see is a little bit of CGI on her cheek. The rest of it is 10 minutes of her writhing around in the shower, and she has an incredible figure. I am not resentful of that at all. But it was just, even the guys that were watching, we were discussing it on Facebook, were just like, ew, not good. And of course, the only throwback to that transformation is when she takes the serum and everything's okay. Otherwise, there is literally no change in her whatsoever. So it was completely unnecessary. So, and I'm not the only reviewer, to think that it's not just me being, prude or jealous or whatever people want to say about it. It was just, it didn't account for the modern audience. That's for sure. And had there been a good storyline and had there been strong character arcs, then it probably would have been less of an issue. Certainly, there was a number of disparaging remarks about women as well. So, the whole idea that, Nazis fed this serum to women to make them aggressive and more intelligent. I'm like, just watching this film's making me aggressive. I don't need no serum. And it was just icky, absolutely icky. And then, of course, there was no character arc. Now, this could have been a really good comedy horror that poked fun at those exploitation films of the 80s, but it took itself far too seriously, and the only line that made me laugh was delivered by Tony Todd towards the end. But by that point, I think the audience were really tired of this film and the way it went. And yeah, okay, with that premise, do you expect a storyline? Well, yeah, there needs to be a clear 3-act structure with a development. And yes, okay, it was resolved at the end, but the characters didn't go anywhere. And yeah, it was just bad, really bad. So don't watch it. It's got like 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is quite generous, considering, and probably for the reasons I've mentioned. This could have been, and where it failed, in essence, is that it took itself far too seriously. It tried to be a big budget kind of horror that, when it should have been a Troma style comedy horror. And had they gone down that route, it probably would have been a lot of fun. But it wasn't. It was absolute garbage. So that concludes my review on Sky Sharks. If you enjoy these videos and want to see more reviews and interviews with independent filmmakers, then don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell icon so you get notified every time there's a new video.